Let's get some of the first victims in here. Hello.
Yo, can you hear
Hey.
me? Hi.
Yeah.
All right. Um, I don't know. I guess I don't talk about veganism being vegan a lot, so I guess we'll talk about number two.
All right.
Um, so I mean, like I like eating animals.
Okay.
Have you ever have you been vegan all your life?
No, of course not. I became vegan like 8 years ago.
Gotcha.
Um, yeah, but I know you like it, right? I used to like to eat seafood. The problem is that there's somebody you're harming. It's an animal. What justifies slaughtering innocent beings?
The consumer isn't necessarily the slaughterer.
Well, you're paying for it, right? So you're responsible for it.
Well, the typical consumer doesn't pay for it to be slaughtered. They pay for it to buy the already deceased being. You know what I'm
No, it
saying?
wasn't. Yeah, but it had to be harmed for your because of your demand to meet your demand, right? Supply and demand.
I guess, yeah.
In order for you to get the meat, you had to that animal had to be killed.
Okay. Um, and I mean, okay, what tells you that the deaths of these animals are necessarily like torture? How do you know it wasn't like a quick, boom, unaliving?
Well, most of the animals that we get in the store are factory farmed, where they're stuffed in cages and tight spaces. There's lots of noise. They can't move. They get their beaks chopped off. They get all they get mutilated in many ways. But
Okay.
even if they were given like a great life, you're still killing them at the end of the day. And I think that's ultimately wrong to take someone's life.
You said some ones or some things. Sorry.
Animals are someone. They're not just objects, right? They have sentience. They have awareness.
Well, yeah, okay. I'm not gonna deny that, but no. All right. Um, I mean, I guess this can kind of go in the whole thing with like natural selection, right? I mean, the beings, I don't know, what's the whole theory? Like the ones with like the best traits or something, they'll always like be at the top or whatever, and what's gonna be passed down.
Survival of the fittest.
Basically, yes.
But we don't have to survive eating animals or meat. We
It's
can
it,
be
I would say
vegan.
that's the
There's
most
no,
optimal.
it's not a good reason because you can just eat plants.
Yeah, but like we were made, we evolved. I mean, doing that, like, this is what's optimal. The diet of a balance between like veggies, meat, and obviously if you want fruit, you can add that in too. Obviously, right? Um,
Look, I know you want a balanced diet, but you can get a balanced diet as a vegan. You don't have to eat meat. There's nothing that says you have to eat meat. You don't have to.
so do you eat a form of protein in soy? Do you eat soy?
Yeah, I eat soy. I eat all
Okay.
kinds of beans and
Okay.
yeah, nuts, seeds.
You understand that messes up with like your hormones, right? You've heard of this?
I've heard it, but it's not true. There's no evidence that it actually messes with your hormones in any significant way.
Really? And you eat soy frequently?
Not frequently, but maybe once or twice a
Okay.
week.
Okay, so that's maybe why you don't see like the effects like that. I mean, I don't know.
No,
I'm
there's
not
no evidence of any effects that soy has on your body in terms of your hormones.
okay.
Namely, because plant-based estrogen is not the same as animal-based estrogen, and so it wouldn't affect it any. In principle, there's no effect.
I mean, different chemicals can react with different chemicals. I mean, I'm not a doctor or anything, but
There's
like,
no, but there's no. The point is, there's no evidence of soy being bad for you in terms. In fact, there's all the evidence suggests it's good for you.
well, I understand the protein's great and everything. I know that for sure.
Yeah, so there's nothing bad about soy. That's just propaganda.
Okay, well, I mean, I'll look into that one more specifically. Um, I'm trying to think if I have anything else to say about this problem specifically. So Just out of curiosity, like I know that you have vegetarian and vegan. Isn't one of them like you don't eat any animal products, and one you just don't eat like the meat?
Yeah, vegetarianism is when you don't eat meat, but you still eat dairy and eggs. I'm a vegan. I don't eat any of that stuff because it all involves some form of cruelty and exploitation.
So you don't even eat like cheese or like milk, none of that stuff.
No,
Damn, you're
because the process by which we produce cheese and milk and eggs is inherently exploitation, right? You're taking an animal and you're forcibly impregnating it just to get them pregnant to get milk from them. And like that's I think terrible. Like, do you know what happens in factories? What they pour out cows,
you said pour out cows.
the poor cows.
Oh, no. Why? What?
Yeah, they have to like forcibly impregnate the cow. They have to inject semen into the cow's, you know what, and first they have to jack off the bull, and then they take the semen and they stuff it into the female so they can get pregnant, so they can make babies, and so they can get milk from them. That happens. That literally happens to millions of cows every year. And
Damn.
I think that's wrong. I think that's not right.
Well, hey, the way that you're saying it obviously is, putting a weird image in my head and like making me think like, oh, that's wrong and stuff. But I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
that's what
lie.
you're paying for.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I love cheese. You're missing out, I think.
No, well, no, I agree with you that cheese tastes good. I used to like cheese too. The problem is that you're forgetting the moral component to this. That there's somebody involved that you are harming in the process, right? And so
Yeah.
you can have great tasting food as a vegan. I love the food I eat. Like I'm not missing out on anything because first of all, cheese is it has stuff in it that is addictive, and it's
Really?
also fat. It's also full of fatty things that you don't want. But besides the point, there's a moral component to this. We shouldn't harm others for taste.
Okay, yeah, no, I understand your viewpoint, but like, just you said something, and now I'm curious. You said that there's an like addictive thing in cheese.
Casein, yeah.
Casein, is this a chemical that's in dairy?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I've never heard of that one, so it's interesting. Um,
Yeah, well, milk, the reason why it's addicting is because milk is meant for baby cows, and there's a protein in there that makes the baby cow want more milk when they're growing. The problem is that hormone, that protein, is so much concentrated in cheese. Like they make cheese from milk, right? But
right.
it's concentrated amounts. So you're getting a ton of that addictive hormone when you consume cheese, and that's why it's addicting.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I guess I'm good on this prompt, unless you want to say something else.
All right, all right. Let me switch over. But thank you for talking. But let me switch over to the next guy so we can get new a new face in here.
Yo,
Hey, how are you?
good you?
Great.
I just want to say I'm a white man, but I identify as black. Is that okay?
Yeah. So I think you're trying to make an analogy like, oh, well, if I'm white, I just identify as black, and ha ha ha. See, the problem is that being black is not an identity in the same way that gender is an identity. So when somebody says they're a woman, it's not just them saying, oh, I label myself a woman, therefore I'm a woman. No, it's a deep internal sense of who you are, and there's a neurobiological component to that. Being black is not neurobiological. It's not even a physical thing. It's a social construct, right? Being black or white or Native American, these are social constructs. It's not analogous to gender.
So what is a woman? So like I could just understand.
A woman is a gender identity that aligns with female typical traits.
What are some female typical traits that a trans woman could have?
Makeup, dresses, femininity, things like that.
Shout out to you, man.
Okay. All right, see the next victim in here.
Alright, so first off, if you like had a couple cows, would you be good with drinking like the milk that you milk them? Like, would you drink milk from like let's say you had like a small farm and you had a couple cows. Would you drink milk from those cows as long as you like processed it in a way you think that's humane?
So first of all, I think milk is gross when you understand that it's full of pus and gross stuff and piss from the cow. Um, but more importantly, I think that it's inherently exploitation to take someone's body part from them without their consent. Like a cow is not can't consent to what you're doing, so it's wrong to take their body.
Also, how much more do you spend on vegetables other than meat? And like, how much do you have to buy to actually like fill yourself
There's no
up?
way this person's above 18. Let's get the next guy in here. But to answer your question, I don't spend that much money at all on eating by getting my groceries. I don't. In fact, I'm saving money as a vegan, so it's actually cheaper.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, how old are you?
I'm 18.
What year were you born?
2007.
What month?
29th of January.
Okay. Yeah. What do you got?
Okay. Yeah, because listen, I have a question. So okay, listen. Let's say there are like 50 cows and one human baby. Who would you want alive?
Who would I unalive? Nobody.
Yeah. No, but you have to choose one.
Oh, I have to choose one. Oh,
Yeah.
probably the cows.
But
Depending on the
why?
baby. Like if this baby's evil, like like Hitler, I'm definitely gonna unalive the baby, not the cows.
Okay, but why you choose the cow like normally? Why would you choose the cow?
I'm sorry.
But why would you choose the cow instead of like the baby?
Oh, because
Generally.
I think that in general, animals have less value than humans.
But you see, now you're just being arbitrary. Like you're just making things up right now. Like, but why?
Well, because obviously, I think the human experience is far more richer than an animal's experience of life in many ways.
Right, but like a baby is, but like okay, but a baby is not like valuable more than a 50 cows. They're grown cows.
Well,
Like,
you can say there's potentiality in that baby's life, right? The future of that child's life. I think that's where it matters more.
all right. Well, okay then. Thanks then. I have nothing else to say.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so the next victim in here. Hey, how are
Yeah,
you?
yeah. How are you doing? I like to debate on the fact that trans women are not women.
Okay.
They can't they can't procreate. They can't carry a baby inside their belly. So there's no way you can say a trans woman is a woman. Now, if you're just trying to refer as a term, that might sound like it's correct, but everybody and we all refer a woman as a human that is able to essentially be impregnated and carry a human life. So how can we how can we
Yeah.
declare
So what
trans?
you're saying is, yeah, like somebody can't have a baby, that means they're not a woman, right? Well, how about all the infertile women out there who can't conceive of babies, even though they're women still? Are they men now because they can't have babies?
Not necessarily. That is a good point, but that could possibly be for different things. But in reality, they were made and genetically, chromosomically, however you want to say it, a woman. They might have a certain disease that might prevent them from having a kid, but in reality, they are a woman because of how their chromosomes are.
Okay, so now you're saying it's chromosomal based.
Don't you
The
think? I
problem,
mean,
there's a couple of problems with defining women by their chromosomes. Number one, there's variations of chromosomes somebody can have, right? There's XXY, there's all kinds of variations, and the waters are muddy when you get to that. But put that aside, there's obviously more to a woman than just their chromosomes, right? There's a sociological component to being a woman, the gender roles you fulfill, the behaviors you exhibit, the idiosyncrasies you have, the way you express yourself as a woman, those are qualities and features of women that
So
chromosomes don't express. And so that's why gender is invoked here, because gender and sex are distinct, and it's important to understand the difference between gender and sex because of the utility that gender provides in reference to those psychological components.
okay, so basically you're trying to say that the word can be used just due to the fact that it's not only related to how genetically we were made, it's more of a social component of what a woman does that a trans woman can do. Essentially,
Yeah, when we say the word woman, what we really mean to say is a gender identity that aligns with certain traits.
I see.
Like,
Okay.
for example, when you say I'm a man, are you referring to my chromosomes? No, you're referring to the fact that I have a beard and the fact that I have certain behaviors and my voice is deeper and I exhibit more masculine qualities, right? That's how we typically go in public. Yeah, this person's a man or a woman. We don't look at their chromosomes. We don't, what's your pee like? Like, we don't do that, right? We're looking at those other characteristics.
Okay, I see. And then, okay, I now understand your point. Now, I also want to make a comment about being a vegan, and I know that you are hypothetically, no, well, not I wouldn't want to say hypothetically, but you are referring to the principle of how we are uh, killing these animals without their consent and things like that. But what are your thoughts about animals in the wild? They kill each other all day long. I mean, the survival. And at one point or other, that was our, I mean, belief too. And, back in this probably when life started, uh, that was what we could eat because at points we were not eating vegetables. Plants were not such a thing. It was meat, and it came either from fish or you know, from.
Yeah, so what you're saying is our ancestors ate it, so why can't we? Well, the problem is we are no longer cavemen. We now have civilization. Like, we can go to the store now. We can buy whatever we want. We don't have to consume animals. And the fact that it's inherently exploitative and harmful, that's the reason we don't do it. We shouldn't do it.
Okay, and so what are your thoughts on animals that are mutilating and killing other animals like
Yeah,
lion,
I think it's
cheetah?
wrong. I think it's wrong for anybody to be mutilated. The problem is that we can't control nature. Like, I can't control every aspect about nature. Like, I can't go to every continent and stop animals from harming each other. Like, I can't do that. And so, yeah, it's wrong, but there's nothing we can practically do to stop that. However, you can stop your harm and cruelty that you cause by being vegan.
And what about plants? Plants also are living things that you know
Absolutely.
they go through a process. They grow, and at one point, from what I heard from the scientists, they say that plants feel too. So you are also.
No, plants don't feel. They don't have nociceptors. These are the pain receptors that make you
Yeah,
feel.
I know
They don't
that.
have brains either, and you need a brain to feel things. That's, in fact, where all your feeling comes from. Your brain. Your brain is
Yes.
what generates that secondary experience of feelings. Plants don't have any of that. They don't have nervous systems. They don't have brains. They don't have pain receptors. They have no way of experiencing pain. And
Okay.
so, but even if they did, let's just say you're right, plants feel pain in some way. Well, it's still better to go vegan because vegans kill way less plants. We use way less crops to grow food versus animal agriculture. And so, whether you're right or not, it's better to be vegan.
I see. And last thing, God is imaginary. Why? Where do you came that? Where did? How do you came to that belief that God doesn't exist?
I read the Bible and I realized how idiotic it is. Talking snakes, talking donkeys, Adam and Eve. These things are not compatible with science. And I think science illuminates that kind of worldview where it's like, yeah, there doesn't have to be a God. There could just be a universe of things happening. And we know that evolution's a fact, and that completely is incompatible with Adam and Eve.
I
And
see.
so, Adam and Eve, if you believe in that, you're in the wrong path, and according to the science.
But science also has backup that there's a higher being that has created us in some way, shape, form, because we don't have all the answers to anything. And isn't that what we call God, anyways?
I don't know of any science that demonstrates a higher being, whatever that is. I don't
And
know of any science that does that.
if you look, there's even doctors. Well, I don't know if you're familiar with this now, but there was a doctor that did over. It was over like 20,000 brain scans after people were had died, and things like that, and he couldn't explain so many things on how would the brain go and what would people somewhat have a soul. And they came out, I mean, you can read it. I was reading about actually a couple nights ago, and they come out with a conclusion that there's something out there that has created us. There's not just, and now I'm not saying Adam and Eve is it's not true or it's true. I see your point. I mean, it's a little bit weird to believe that, somebody beat an apple and now here we are, right? But at the same time, how the universe got created,
Yeah, you raise a good point. Wow, it's incredible what happens, how the brain operates, how life operates. You look around the world, it seems intuitive that there's somebody doing it and somebody behind all this. It's too remarkable. However, the very argument you're making is fallacious in the sense that it's arguing from incredulity, where I don't know what explains this, therefore it must be God. That's the root of the problem. When you start invoking things out of your ignorance, this is the God of the gaps fallacy, right? You would never say, oh, I don't know how this operates, so therefore I don't know how the thunder happens, so it must be Zeus. That would be a very bad argument to make. And the same with God, right? Just because you look around, you go, I don't know how this works. How does the brain work? How does consciousness work? It's too miraculous for me to comprehend. Therefore, God, that's an invalid inference to make.
Okay, I see your point, and even though I do believe in God, and we might call it some people call it higher being, some people just think that unexplainable things it's what God is. But I see your point, anyways. Thank you for taking me and answering the things.
Thank you. Thank you for being respectful. Yeah, I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Take.
I love that. I love respectful conversations. We need more of that. Hey, how are you?
Oh, hi, how are you?
Great.
So, thank you for bringing me up. Damn, I just dropped something. Big mess. All right, sorry. So, I just wanted to see, sorry. So, are you, atheist or agnostic?
Atheist.
Okay. And what is, truth to you?
Good question. Truth to me is a descriptive thing that describes what is real, what exists, what corresponds to reality.
Okay. So are you aware of the laws of logic?
Yes.
And would the laws of logic be true?
Yeah, laws of logic would be true axiomatically, right? They're true by definition.
Okay. So are laws of logic, is logic a metaphysical concept that is dependent on the mind?
Yes, I think that logic is mind dependent. It's a mental process.
And if all humans if there was no humans, would planet Earth still be planet Earth and only planet Earth?
If there were no humans, Earth would still exist, yes.
And it could only exist as planet Earth, and that would be a manifestation of truth?
Well, again, I think you're trying to suggest that without humans, there would still be some kind of logic. I think that's incorrect because, in my view, logic is descriptive, not prescriptive. And so it's not that logic exists first and then the universe conforms to logic. It's the humans who are describing the universe through logic. It's just one kind of language we're using. It's like mathematics. And so it's not that logic exists before us. It's more that the universe, as we call it, external reality, it exists first, but we are here to describe it through logic, right? So it's not that. Yeah, so that's my position.
So I'm pretty sure planet Earth would always be planet Earth, and that does not depend on any atoms or human agreement.
I agree.
And that would be a
But the
truth.
truth, when we say something is true, we're describing is a description, a descriptive fact about something. We're describing a description of reality. So truth is merely descriptive.
Yeah, it would describe what is.
Yes.
Like, is reality consistent?
Yes, that's a descriptive truth.
So we can have descriptive truths independent of the mind, but truth is a metaphysical concept.
No, just truth would be dependent on the mind. Truth is mind dependent. Reality
Planet Earth,
is
but
mind
planet Earth would
independent.
always be planet Earth without any humans. That would be a
But-
contradiction.
But again, that truth statement itself depends on a mind to yield it, right? And I agree that external reality would be the way it is, but again, there wouldn't be anybody describing reality without humans. You're confusing the map for the territory. I think this is what you're doing, right? You're saying the map, logic, is reality. Well, no, there's a distinction. Logic is just the map. Reality is the territory, right? Let's say you're playing GTA 5. Well, the map is just the map for the territory. It's not, the map isn't actually the territory. And we can't hear you. You're muted.
Muted? Oh, I'm sorry. Is there objective truth?
Sure.
Okay. So if there is objective truth and there can be truth independent of the mind, as planet Earth would be planet Earth, even if there was no minds present, how do you clear up that contradiction?
Because again, all truth is mind dependent. Even objective truths are mind dependent. When we say objectivity, we're actually referring to stance independency, not merely mind independency.
Well, so what is your account for the existence of metaphysics?
What do you mean by metaphysics? If you're talking about metaphysics in the philosophical sense, that's just a study of physics. It's just a study of what physics is.
No, when I say metaphysics, I mean like anything that we can't see, smell, touch, things like math, logic, knowledge.
Yeah, now you're referring to like an immaterial. I don't think that exists. I think everything is material.
Okay. And do you, so what sorry. So when it comes to the laws of logic, the law of identity, A would always equal A.
Okay.
And that is something that is not mind dependent.
It is. Again, logic is mind dependent. Everything we do in logic and math is mind dependent, in my view.
But planet Earth would always be planet Earth, even if there was no minds.
Yeah, but the point is that you're referring to an external reality. You're not referring to logic at that point.
That is a manifestation of truth that is not dependent on the mind. on the human
No,
mind at least.
no. Again, when we say something is true, the Earth is there. That's a mind-dependent fact. Facts are merely descriptive, right? Truth is merely descriptive of the world. If I don't have descriptions, it doesn't mean that reality doesn't exist. It just means the truth doesn't exist anymore. It just means logic doesn't exist. It doesn't mean reality fails to exist. So you're confusing the map for the territory.
No, so truth is just a label to describe what is.
Yeah, exactly. And if no humans existed, it's just that the labels would be gone, not reality.
Mm-hmm.
Because reality is ontology. The nature of reality is unknown to us. We don't know what it
So,
is.
so what
We're merely
is?
describing it through logic.
So what is for something for is to exist that is mind dependent. Like
What
predication.
from what is to exist? What do you mean by that?
Predication is mind dependent. Like the sky is blue. Sky is blue is all mind dependent, and it's all presuppositionalism.
Sky is blue is mind. Yes, all truth is mind dependent in my view.
But you're saying that planet Earth would always be planet Earth, even if there was no mind.
Planet Earth would always be Earth, but you're talking. But now you're referring to a true statement.
Yes.
That requires minds.
Yes, I'm referring
You're
to
not
your
referring
contradiction.
to reality. Look,
I'm referring to your contradiction.
There wouldn't be a label for it, but the reality would
I'm
still
not talking
exist.
about the label. I'm talking about.
Look, if
I'm
we're,
not talking
if we're,
about
if we're
how
at
we
McDonald's,
express it.
if we're at McDonald's and I remove the letters on the building, McDonald's, does that mean that it's not McDonald's anymore? No, it's still McDonald's. Just that we don't have the label for it anymore.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the label. I'm talking about what it is physically.
Yeah, what it is unknown. We don't know. We don't actually know what the universe is. We're trying to label it through logic and math and physics.
Yeah, but what it is still observable, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And we can observe these things, and we have a pretty good idea that what we are observing is actually real. Like, how do you know that what you're seeing isn't real? How can you trust that what you're seeing isn't a figment of your imagination?
You're right. I can't solve the problem of solipsism. However, for pragmatic reasons, we just say, yeah, it's probably the case that we all have individual experiences.
So, okay, so I guess would you just concede you have no justification for any of your presuppositions?
No, I think that we do have justifications, but there are axioms we hold to, which by definition do not require justifications. Right? Axioms are not justified. They're just presuppositions we have.
Well,
like
so
the law of identity.
And how is that axiomatic? Doesn't it
exactly? They're axiomatic, right? They don't require justifications.
It couldn't be axiomatic if it presupposes a mind. By definition, it couldn't be axiomatic. There's more to it.
We don't presuppose minds. We just have minds.
You would have to if it is mind dependent.
No. We don't presuppose minds. We just have them. We're using them to describe things.
For the existence of logic, you have to presuppose there is a mind.
No, we don't have to presuppose there's a mind to have. I don't have to presuppose legs to walk. Do what?
I got it. I'm sorry, what did you say?
I don't have to presuppose legs to walk. I can just walk.
That's false binary. It's not the same thing.
Logic isn't something we presuppose. Logic is something we do.
Logic has nothing to do with what we do.
Okay, well, in my view, logic is a mental process. It's merely a mental process. It's not something we presuppose. It's just something we do.
Logic is merely a mental process, but there are logical statements that would be true independent of the mind.
Which ones?
That planet Earth would always be planet Earth.
That's not true without a mind to describe it.
You just said it was. That's why I said you're contradicting yourself.
You're not grasping this, right? You're confusing the map, logic, for the territory, external reality. Logic isn't reality. We just
What?
use logic as a language to describe reality. But reality is unknown. We don't know the nature of it.
So it's incoherent.
No, it's not incoherent. What do you mean?
So how do you bridge that then?
How do I bridge what?
You said that it's something that is. You just said something about it being of the mind, that it is only of the mind.
Yeah.
And if it is only of the mind, then you would have to be presupposing a mind. I gotta grab more out
No,
of
we
it.
don't presuppose minds. We don't.
For logic, if you're saying it is dependent on the mind, yes, you would.
I don't even know what presupposing minds mean. Are you
That
saying we presuppose minds exist?
yeah, well,
No, we don't. We have evidence of minds. I
do
don't
we?
know. I don't know what you're talking about.
What is the mind? Can you show me? Can we see it, smell it, taste it?
Oh, okay. So you think the mind is not physical? No, yes, the mind is just merely a product of the brain, right? It's an emergent phenomenon of the brain. It's something we can measure and see in every way.
The mind?
Yes, the mind is just an electrochemical process in the brain.
So, and this would apply to products of the mind, like knowledge, all of these things.
Yes, everything is material.
Okay, so what is the electronic, like what is the process of knowledge that would be measurable that you're talking about?
Logic is one of the systems we use
No, I
to
said
produce
knowledge.
knowledge.
Where's your account for knowledge? Like you said, it's all brain
It's a
signals.
mental process in the brain.
And we can measure it.
Yes, we can look at brains and we can measure them.
We can't measure.
activity
No,
in the
we
brain.
cannot
Yes.
measure knowledge.
Again, knowledge itself is just going to be things we know, and that's just merely descriptive statements. Like Earth is blue, sky is blue. That's just knowledge. That's right there. That's like self-evident.
Is it though? Is it self-evident?
Yeah, sky is blue. That's a true statement. That's right there. I don't need a study for that.
Well, so you haven't really cleared up the contradiction that you're saying that, and when I say truth, I'm just merely saying the description for what is. When I say the planet being the planet is true, I'm just
Truth is
saying
merely
that is.
descriptive. Then you shouldn't have a problem recognizing that if no humans existed, there would be no truth.
But that wouldn't follow, because if no humans existed and planet Earth would still be planet Earth.
Yes, but there wouldn't be description of it.
There doesn't have to be a description of it. I'm talking about what we are physically observing.
Okay, well then if you think the truth is descriptive, then wouldn't it be truth about the Earth if humans wouldn't exist? There would just be Earth. There would just be a reality without any truth in it.
Repeat that.
If humans didn't exist, there would just be a reality with no truth in it.
Yeah, so you keep contradicting yourself, because you just said that planet Earth would still be planet Earth without no minds.
Planet Earth would be planet Earth. We're talking about the territory. We're talking about external reality. We're not talking about truth now. I don't think you're grasping this, sir.
I'm pretty sure that you're just contradicting yourself.
No.
How about
some more time with you?
how
If
about
humans were
that?
gone, there would be no more truth anymore. There would just be an external reality.
Is math something that is discovered or created?
Neither. I think that math is something our brains just do. We don't create it or discover it. It's just something our brain does, like logic. Like walking, right? I didn't create or discover walking. I just do it.
You just walk?
Yeah, it's just something that we do.
But when it comes to the laws of logic, these are not things that have. There are laws of logic that have nothing, that don't have to apply to humanity at all, and they would still be consistent, and they would still be concise and
What do you mean they don't
observable.
apply to humanity? Are you asking me logic
Like
that wouldn't? What do you mean it wouldn't apply to humanity?
the law of excluded middles does not. It wouldn't need a human mind to be observed. Like either
Yes, it
planet
would.
Earth,
It would.
it wouldn't, because you
Look
just said
again.
that
You're
planet Earth.
fundamentally confused here. When we talk about the law of excluded middle or non-contradiction, we're just talking about a logical statement.
Yeah, something.
That comes from the brain. It's not coming from reality. It's not prescriptive. It's
I,
descriptive.
I'm talking about our ability to observe.
What do you mean now? Our ability to observe is different from logic.
So no, because what I'm saying is, you said that planet Earth would always be planet Earth, even if there was no minds present to observe that. That would be a metaphysical manifestation of truth that does
The
not
statement
need
the
a
Earth would
mind.
always be Earth is mind dependent. The reality to that, behind that statement for which we are describing, that isn't true or
Earth,
false.
so
That's
so
just reality, the
Earth
nature of which we don't understand.
physically, not on a conceptual level, Earth would always be Earth, correct?
Let me try this again, if you can listen. When we say the Earth will always be Earth, that's a mind-dependent statement, which is really describing an external reality for which we don't know its true ontology. We don't know
So
the
it's not,
nature of
now it's
reality.
not true. So earlier
We're
you were
just
saying it is true, now
describing
it's not.
what we think is reality. That's what we're doing when we say the Earth will always be Earth. If no humans existed, there would be no more truth to describe it.
So Earth could not be Earth if there was no minds present. There's a possibility where Earth would not
If
be
there are
Earth.
no minds, there's no truth or logic.
Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah, you. I can't believe you don't hear the contradiction.
You're not pointing out it very well.
Well, I've said it 3 times. You even flipped
Do
on
you
it.
know what a
just said,
contradiction is?
yeah, you're saying.
What's
You
a contradiction?
So you said that planet Earth. You said that logic is mind dependent.
Can you
And
point
then
out the contradiction in my view?
Yeah, you said logic is mind dependent, and then when I said, would planet Earth be planet Earth even if there was no minds, you said yes. So how can those 2 things be true at the same time?
You're question begging in that statement, in that argument.
I would like you to clear up the
question begging in the
contradiction.
sense that
And also,
logic is prescriptive.
you're the host, and you're the host. You said God is imaginary, so the burden of proof is on you.
You keep asserting that logic is prescriptive. I think it's descriptive. Do you know the difference?
Even if it's.
Do you know the difference between prescriptive
Yeah,
and descriptive?
prescriptive is an odd, descriptive is what is.
Okay, so logic is not prescriptive. Do you agree?
Yeah. No, logic is descriptive.
Okay, great. So then logic, the universe doesn't follow logic.
Yes, it does. That's the only way we can.
Then you think
look at the universe.
logic is prescriptive then?
It's not. It's not an ought. Logic. You can observe logic, and A being A, planet Earth being planet Earth is not an ought claim.
Look, when we say logic is prescriptive, that means you think the universe is following the laws of logic. The universe is following the laws of logic. That's what you believe. I don't believe that.
And also, yeah, if God is imaginary, isn't contradiction a metaphysical concept? Is a contradiction even real?
Yes, it's a real thing. Everything's material. Even logic, even your thoughts, of which logic is comprised of.
And your logic this is grounded in what?
Scientific observation.
No. I mean, where in our would you say where our mind is a product of evolution?
Yeah. What's your point here? Before I kick you, what's your point?
So you've contradicted yourself. You said logic is mind dependent. Then you said the laws of logic would apply even without any minds present. That
No,
is
I
a
never said
contradiction.
that. I never said the logic would apply.
So
Logic does
planet
not
Earth.
apply to the universe. Logic
So
is merely describing the universe.
so
The
planet
universe does
Earth.
not conform to logic. Logic conforms to the universe.
So planet Earth could not be planet Earth.
No, you're confusing the map for the territory in that very statement.
What do you mean by that? The map
Again,
for
the
the territory.
logic isn't prescriptive, so that statement wouldn't be true because there would be no minds to describe that. But that doesn't mean that because there's no truth about it, it wouldn't exist anymore, that the Earth wouldn't exist, or that it would defy logic in the case that we are describing it. You're very confused about this.
I don't think so, because you just said that it would be mind dependent. But
Yes, logic is mind
would
dependent.
but the physical object that is planet Earth could only be planet Earth due to the laws of logic.
That's just merely a description. That doesn't mean that because we describe it that way, that means it must always be the case without humans. That's true. There wouldn't be truth without humans.
There would be no truth without humans.
No, but truth as well as logic is not prescriptive to the universe's workings.
So, I don't know. All right, good convo. I tried.
All right, thank you. Thanks for being cordial. Hello, welcome in.
Hello, sir. How you doing today?
Great. How old are you?
I'm 19 years old.
All right.
So I just came on today to ask a question. I'm not really here to argue or anything like that, but I see you got the point of God is imaginary and trans women are women, which I fully agree with, and I could see why someone would logically or reasonably come upon that conclusion. What I'm kind of confused about is why you're saying that you should be vegan, and that wording is important because I could see why you would come to the conclusion that you yourself as a person should be vegan for your own personal reasons. But how could you put that on someone else, especially considering it's a very personal thing and it's not very logically based, in my opinion? I just want to hear your
Yeah,
thoughts.
it's very simple. Do you think that we should abuse animals?
Absolutely not.
Then you should absolutely be vegan.
Why is eating an
Because
animal
vegans agree with you.
animal
We agree with
abuse?
you. We shouldn't abuse animals. So you should be vegan.
So can you tell me how eating an animal equates to abuse?
You're taking their life away. That's like the ultimate form of abuse.
Not necessarily. Abuse. All right, man, you got me. But I had a point, but I'm having a hard time putting it into words. But thanks, man. Appreciate your insight. Have a good
Thank
one.
you. Yeah, appreciate you. All right. Well, I like the honesty, man. I love the honesty today. I like the conversation today. Hey.
Hey, how's it going? So, I just wanted to ask about number 3 and number 2. I don't think we need to talk about number 1 because I agree with you.
Okay.
So, why do you believe trans women are women? I'm just curious. What's your justification?
I think trans women are women because womanhood is their identity, and because trans women identify as women, they're women.
Okay. And I can see your point there. I just wanted to talk about what you talked about earlier, objective facts and objective truth. So let's get this out the way. Objectivity is something that can be measured and seen, right? There's subjective beliefs, which is opinionated, and objective, which is fact. So science is an objective concept, right?
Science isn't objective. You mean the truths that we extract from it can be objective, sure.
Well, so objective data is just data that can be measured and like we can see it, right? That's the definition of
we can measure
objectivity.
things. Yeah. What's your point?
So my point is, objectively, what makes a man is XY chromosomes. What makes a woman is XX chromosomes. Now, I'm not against trans people by any means. I'm not against that. I'm just trying to, prove a point. Like, I believe anybody can be whatever they want to be.
Your point is that womanhood is based on your chromosomes. But the problem is that, first of all, there are several intersex variations. Like XXY, what are they? Are they man or woman? Right? They have two X chromosomes.
I guess, but I'm talking about like.
But what are they?
Wait, hold on.
Are they male or female?
What? Wait.
Are they women or men? XXY chromosomes.
XXY?
Yeah.
They're men because they have a Y chromosome. You can have two different organs, but one of them won't work. You can't reproduce with yourself because you have that Y chromosome. You're a man. You can produce sperm. You can produce sperm cells.
The problem is that it seems like I agree with you that's sex though, right? Like I can agree to that definition, but that you're referring to sex.
I'm talking about sex.
The reason why we distinct gender. Hold on. The reason why we distinct gender from sex is because gender goes a step beyond my chromosomes. Because you would agree that there's more to me that makes me a man than just my chromosomes, right?
Yes.
There's a sociological aspect to me, right? There's a way I express my manhood through masculinity, and so those are the gender components that we have to recognize. And you're just disregarding all that.
Okay, well, I wasn't referring to. Okay, I get where the mix-up is. I wasn't referring to gender in itself. I was talking about sex.
Oh
As
yeah,
in, like,
I agree with you. I agree with you. Sex is chromosomal. But
well, no.
Gender
is no. I agree with no. I agree. Gender is, whatever you make it of it.
Yeah. So that's why we're saying trans woman or woman, because.
Okay, that's my bad. I thought you meant like, it was a mix-up. We didn't get that. I was referring to sex as in the biological processes of life.
Yeah, nobody's disputing that XX is female. Like, nobody's disputing that, right? But when you say the word man and woman, now you're referring to gender. And it gets a little muddy. It gets a little fuzzy there.
Okay, well, let's move away from that because we kind of found our reason. Why do you believe that you should be vegan?
I think that if you think that we shouldn't abuse animals, you should be vegan.
Okay, I can take that, subjectively look at it in a way that if I'm abusing an animal, I'm torturing it, but I feel like taking its life, it wouldn't really classify as abuse for. And yes, you can make the argument that humans are animals. Would I want to be killed? Obviously not. But I think that if we can justify killing animals, like in nature it happens, we are all animals. Humans are animals, right? So if you take a starving man and you put a cow in front of him and he eats the cow, is he wrong for doing that?
No, I don't think if he has no other option, I think he's perfectly justified in eating that cow. The problem
now
is
if you
that
take that,
you're not starving. We're not starving here. We have stores. We have options. And with options comes responsibility.
I can understand that point, but I just don't agree. I don't agree with it because why like what is your like why do we need to be vegan? Like why should we? Is it just because of abuse? Is that the only justification?
Why should we be kind to one another? Well, it's because I think that it makes for a better world. And if we keep abusing animals like we do in factories, I think it makes for a way worse world where there's tons more suffering. There's tons more environmental issues.
Yeah, that's shitty. No, that's definitely shitty. But
Yeah.
like, okay, if I'm raising chickens, right, and I'm harvesting chickens, wouldn't oh man, fuck. So, what is wrong? Like, I don't understand what's wrong with that because we've eaten these same meats for hundreds of thousands of years. Why is it wrong now?
Well, that's like saying, well, we've been enslaving people for thousands of years. Why is it wrong to enslave people now? Well, it's because we've learned about who people are. They're not just objects, right? Animals, like the way the way you refer to them, you're harvesting them. Imagine if I said I was harvesting people. That would be crazy. But animals and people are not that different. Animals are sentient, they're conscious, they're aware, they have thoughts and dreams just like you and me. And so to treat them like objects and harvest their body parts, I think is bad. I think it's abuse and exploitation. And that's what we're against.
So you're vegan, correct?
Correct.
You don't eat meat at all.
Correct.
Okay. What about people that don't have access to veganism though? Like people that in lower developed nations, that's their only options, and it's working
Yeah,
for them.
there are some people around the world who have very limited access to plant-based products. Well, in that case, yeah, I think that's justification for them to consume animals. But you can still be vegan and consume animals because veganism is not a diet. It's a philosophical principle that seeks to minimize the exploitation of animals as much as practicable, as much as you are able to do so. And
Okay.
so, yes, if you are restrained by resources, then yes, you can be vegan and still eat animals. But most people are not constrained by those things. They have stores, and so most
Yeah.
people can be 100% plant-based, just as you can. And so there's no justification there.
I could make the argument that your preferences are based off of what your mother eats, and that's out of your control. You could make that argument,
No,
and I think that's
my preferences are distinct from my mother's.
okay. So yes, but we humans have been known to take what their mother ate when they were in development. So let's just
That
say,
doesn't grant us the right to eat people or anybody just because our mothers did it.
um,
Like if
preference,
my
bro.
mother fed me human body parts, would that make it okay for me to continue murdering people for food? No.
By your logic, it's the same thing. By your logic, eating
No, it's
animals
not.
and eating people, what's different then? What's your point?
No, no. Harming animals, whether they're human or not, is the same thing. But my point is that they're both wrong.
It is okay. Well, yes, it can be viewed both wrong, but to be honest, that's just the way it is, I guess. I don't believe
But it doesn't
that.
have to be that way, though. We can change it for the better. Why? Like, do you want to live in a world where there's more cruelty or less cruelty?
I feel like human cruelty is the only thing that matters objectively.
Oh,
No,
really?
no. Listen. No, no.
Really? So if I had a puppy in my hand right now and I started stabbing it, that wouldn't matter?
Nah, nigga.
No? I can go to any person's puppy and just start stabbing it? And that's okay to you? This is crazy. No, we all know it's wrong to abuse dogs, right? Oh, he left. Yeah, look, we all know it's wrong to abuse. We all cried when Hassan Piker had his dog electrocuted for 2 seconds. Everybody was so mad about that. There was a huge uprise on social media. He electrocuted his dog. That was for like 2 seconds. How about the billions of animals electrocuted to death every day in factories? Chickens, cows, pigs, they were gassed in cages. And so how can you not have any concern about those things, but you're so concerned about the dog? It seems hypocritical. And that's why I'm vegan, because it's very much more consistent, and there are spillover benefits. In other words, being vegan, the benefits spill over into humanity. If you care about the environment, go vegan. We're better for the land. We're better for carbon emissions. If you care about saving water, go vegan. We use less water. If you care about not having pandemics, go vegan. Vegans prevent pandemics because of all the antibiotic usage we give to the animals. It's creating superbugs who are antibiotic resistant. If you care about, health, go vegan because you have lower risk of heart disease and cancer. There are so many benefits to veganism that go beyond just the animals, and you're missing out on all of that because you're saying, fuck it, I just like to abuse them for taste, right? It seems very unethical, you know. All right, let's get the next victim in here. Hello? Why are plants worth less than animals? They're not sentient. Hey, how are you? Hello? Hello, 80? Hello?
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Good.
I just want to ask, what do you mean by you, quote unquote, should be vegan?
I think there's a moral obligation to be vegan if you think that we shouldn't abuse animals.
So it's more morally right to be vegan than to not be, essentially what you're saying.
Yep.
See, I tend to agree with you. The only hang-ups I have is you do get a lot more nutritional value out of eating meat, which is why I stopped being vegan for a very long time, because of the fact of like everything I eat instead of meat was not giving me enough energy to last me through the day. And I know that's kind of anecdotal, but
yeah, it is.
That's
very
my
anecdotal.
experience.
It's very anecdotal. So, do you seek dietitian help?
No, I did not.
Yeah, that's the
I mean, I
problem.
don't have health insurance.
Like
Probably won't.
there are ways
Like,
there are meal plans you can have that gives you plenty of energy. And so, by the way, there are way more nutrients in plants than meat. In the case of micronutrients, vitamins, and minerals, like vitamin C, vitamin E, is very lacking in meat. Fiber,
yeah. I mean, I
antioxidants,
think you
it's
should have
all
a balanced
lacking.
diet for sure.
But the point is that you can be very healthy as a vegan, and so you're raising a non-argument.
And I would like to say I would apply it to vegetarian, but not necessarily vegan. Like, I think you can. I think it's just fine to eat eggs and milk. Like, that stuff is really good for you. I don't see what the issue is if we're
There's no
just
evidence that it's really
taking
good for
eggs.
you. There's no evidence that it's really good for you.
Eggs?
But more importantly, yeah, they're full of cholesterol and fat. But more importantly, it's a moral concern to raise chickens for the sole purpose of making them make eggs for you, right? And milk, even worse. You're impregnating a cow.
I mean, what do wild
willfully
chickens even do?
just for
Are
them
there
to
even
make milk.
do wild chickens even exist?
Wild chickens, I think they exist, yeah.
Oh. Did you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah. I'm not sure about that.
Like, most of these animals are like have been domesticated for so long. Like, I don't see what the
that's
issue is that
domestication of an animal, I think, is inherently wrong, right? Because imagine if we did this to people. We took a group of people and we domesticated them into like being our like food like giving us food from their bodies. Like we secreted.
So would you say like owning a cat or dog?
That'd be crazy.
So then owning a cat or dog, it would be bad too, right?
When I what?
Like, why would, like, owning a cat or a dog would be inherently bad as well, would it not?
Not owning a dog or cat. I mean, having a friend is perfectly fine. I
But
think breeding dogs and cats is wrong because what you're doing is you're creating more stray animals. Like all the breeding we're doing in terms of cats and dogs, it's creating so many stray animals that don't have homes and they have to be euthanized. And that's wrong, right? But having
I
a
mean,
friend,
just the
having a pet friend is
domestication.
fine.
But we're talking about just the domestication of them in general. Like, you think that's a bad thing
Yeah,
that we went and
domestication of
domesticated
animals I think
dogs
is
or
wrong,
domesticated
right?
cats?
What?
Like, I said, do you think it's wrong that somebody went and domesticated dogs and domesticated cats?
I think it's no longer needed. And back then it may have helped people, but today it's no longer needed. I think we should
I
stop
just
doing
don't.
it.
I mean, I'm in full disagreement with domestication is a bad thing, but
Okay, so let me ask you, would it be okay to take a group of
the
people?
animals like chickens and cows
Would it be
for
okay?
the sole purpose of food. Like,
Would it be
I don't see an
okay
issue.
to take a bunch of people and grow people and breed them artificially for their milk and for their body parts?
No, but I think people have
Okay,
a
so then
much
it's
more
so then we agree it's wrong to do it to people, just as it's wrong to do it to animals. So what's the difference?
that one's a person and one's an animal. That's the difference.
But what's the morally relevant difference?
I don't know all the science behind it, but until a cow will come to me and tell me how much it's hurting him, I don't really know what you want me to say.
So what you're saying is because cows don't speak, that means you get to harm them.
Not necessarily. That might be what you want me to say, but
So then what makes it okay
I don't think
to
they
slaughter
have.
the cows?
I don't think they have empathy
What
in the
makes
way
it
that
what
we
makes it
do.
okay to slaughter animals?
I don't think they feel pain in the same way we do. I think they feel it all differently. They don't feel sadness and they don't feel happiness in the same ways we do.
They do. They do feel sadness. Dogs cry. Cows can cry. The cows can feel depression when their
It's not in
babies
the
are
same
taken
ways
from
as
them.
we do, though. It's different.
But even within humans, there are variations of experiences. I mean, babies don't experience everything the way I do or you do. Does that mean
And
we can take
just
away their
because,
experience because it's lesser?
I mean, let me preface this here though. Factory farms, all those sorts of things, I'm in disagreement. I don't think we need any of that around. I'm very much like, I
Okay,
think that
so why
I
do
try
you
to buy all my
contribute
meat
to it?
locally
Why do you
for that
contribute to
reason.
it?
What'd you say?
Why do you contribute to these factories?
I don't. I actually buy all my stuff locally. I buy like a half a cow every year and I freeze it.
Those people still, first of all, some of those local farmers still import from factory, but more importantly, you're still at the end of the day killing animals. You're taking their lives away and you're still exploiting them by going local. What justifies that?
So, like, would you say like hunting is then? That's
Yes, absolutely. Hunting is even worse. You're doing it for no good reason.
I mean, there's a good reason. It's for food.
But no, it's not a good reason because you don't have to eat animals. You can eat plants. It's not. There's no reason to eat animals.
I mean, it's a circle of life, man. I don't really know what else to say. Like, this has been going on since the
Circle
dawn
of
of time.
life.
This is how Mother Nature works.
But it doesn't.
Like,
But we don't have to follow nature. See, we have phones. We
so
have
how
technology.
come?
Is that nature, sir?
So, does an animal have to follow nature then?
An animal has no choice, but we do.
So
We
maybe
have
that's what makes
phones.
us
We have
different
technology.
from animals and humans.
We have choices.
Is the
That's what
fact
makes
that
us
we can make
different.
choices. We can.
Yes, we have stores. We have the ability to make a different choice, and that's why we have responsibility to make the right choice.
Oh man, you pull out the with great power comes great responsibility. You might have me there. You might have me there. I mean, I can't lie. Like, based on my personal experience, I can't go back to being a vegan. I have some allergies that stop me from eating certain things, like nuts, which
You don't have to eat nuts. You can eat something else, sir.
I
I
can't.
would highly
I can't
suggest
figure
you
it
seek
out.
a dietitian. Seek a dietitian who's plant-based. They will help you. There are
Yeah,
free
I'm not
resources
paying
out
for
there.
all that, man. I
There
don't
are
have
free
money like that.
resources out
Sorry.
there.
I'll try and look
Challenge
it up online, but that's the best I
challenge22.com.
can give you. What's it called?
Challenge22.com. Challenge22.com. They're
Challenge 22.
yeah, there are free resources out there for you.
I'll consider it. You might have changed my mind. Appreciate that.
Cool. Yeah.
I will, like I
Well,
said, I
look,
was vegan for
keep
2 years,
learning. Keep
but
learning.
yeah, like I ate a lot of the it was mostly my fault. I ate a lot of the like soy based products, like the Beyond Meat. You know what I'm talking about? Um,
Yeah, those are unhealthy if you eat too much of it. But
yeah,
yeah,
that's the issue is I couldn't figure out how to eat the good, like a lot of the good stuff. You know, I couldn't
yeah,
figure out how to implement it into my diet right.
explore the culinary world. There's tons of food out there. There's tons of diets and meal plans. It's just amazing what you can find out there.
I will say my bias to eating meat does come from the fact that I was a line cook forever, and one of the things you learn as a line cook is how to cook meat really tasty.
Yeah, yeah,
They don't teach you a lot of vegan alternatives,
yeah,
so
yeah. Completely understandable.
you
Yeah,
get like that craving for the meat, and it might not be morally right.
yeah. That's why I agree. No, that's understandable. But that's why you have to make that connection. You have to strengthen that connection with who the animals are. Understand, learn about the animals, learn about food, learn about diet, learn about health, learn about the environment. And when your knowledge is strengthened, it'll be way more it'll be way easier for you to become vegan. It just takes education.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, I won't take up any more of your time though.
Cool.
I think you have changed my mind. I was looking forward to eating steak later, but you might have just ruined that. But
Well, think about someone's life who would have been ruined if you did eat a steak. Think about it. We see steak as something that comes up on our plates. We don't see the torture behind it. We don't see the death behind it. We get it in a fancy package. But we don't see the process by which that meat was produced. In fact, it's hidden from us deliberately. That's why you can't legally film in a factory farm. It's illegal. But they show you all the fancy commercials about the meat and all that stuff. But they don't show you the process. How they stun the animals, and many of them are conscious while they're being dismembered, alive. Think about that, right? Think about if you were an animal. Would you want to be slaughtered? Hell no. So why do it? You know? This isn't rocket science. I think almost all of us intuit that harming dogs and cats is wrong. So why is it such a stretch to recognize it's wrong to harm cows and pigs? It's consistent. It's perfectly consistent and better off for not just the animals, but also for us. Okay, one more person.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. So, I'm just curious. So, you've been saying a lot of things that you believe in logic, right?
9:17 p.m.
I believe in logic.
Like,
I
you
think
view
logic
things
is
very
a method.
logically.
Logic is a method, is a process. Yeah.
Okay. So, what are your viewpoints on when there's research studies and if you believe in science, when things are produced by people that study in those fields?
What? I enjoy science. What's your point?
Yeah, so your point of trans women are women. Have you heard about the DSM-5?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are your viewpoints on body dysmorphia in the DSM-5?
But you mean gender dysphoria?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gender dysphoria,
Yeah,
body
gender
dysmorphia.
dysphoria is a condition, a psychological condition, in which somebody experiences severe distress about the incongruence between their gender and their sex.
Right.
And that not every trans person experiences gender dysphoria,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not something like a disease, like an illness or a disease in the sense of like schizophrenia is, or
Right.
some other debilitating condition can be.
Yeah.
And so even cis people can experience gender dysphoria. The
Right.
point is that it's not that big of a deal in terms of people love to over exaggerate.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just curious what your thoughts were on the DSM-5 and how that contributes to your argument.
I don't understand what's your point here.
I'm just curious, do you feel like the DSM-5 has any sway to your viewpoint on
Trans women are
women?
still women, whether or not the DSM-5 exists or doesn't exist. It doesn't change anything. Yeah.
So what would you define a woman as?
A gender identity that aligns with female typical traits.
Okay, so if you believe in science and that's your argument is the scientific side of things, scientifically, not socially, but scientifically, what makes a female a female?
Well, now you're talking about sex, and sex is determined by chromosomes, reproductive systems, hormones, cluster of those traits. But
Right.
gender is distinct from sex in the case that gender is talking about the psychological, neurobiological, and sociological traits associated with sex.
Okay, so then why is it different? To you, what makes it different between the gender and the sex? Because if we're talking about women,
Because we can investigate psychologically how people behave, how they think, how they see things, how they perceive themselves, how they fit in with society. We can study these things. And we know, yeah, there's a lot more to being a man than just your penis or your chromosomes.
right.
There's a lot more to it. And that's why gender is important to understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess better question is, to you, where do you stand in trans women are women? Where do you fall, and why do you contribute that to being a woman?
Trans women are women because their identity is woman. Woman is an identity that they have, therefore they're women. It's that simple. I'm a man because I have a man identity. That's it. It's not because of my penis. You can remove my
Right.
penis. You can put another penis on me. It doesn't make me more or less of a man.
Right.
Okay.
But I'm not talking like just what they have, because I mean at the end of the day, you can change the accessories, but that doesn't change the internal. You know, you can put a car wrap on a car, but that doesn't make a Chevy a Ford.
Yeah, nobody's saying they can change their chromosomes. But what we're saying is that there's a gendered aspect to people, right? There are expressions we have, there are roles we fulfill, there are identities we have that you can't ignore. It's just part of being human. In fact, that's what science demonstrates. So you're actually the only one denying science here is you, if you suggest that gender doesn't exist and it's just about sex. Trans women are not claiming to be female necessarily, right? What we're finding is that there's a brain component to gender, and that is heavily correlated to somebody's identity as a man or woman, right? There's a structuring in the brain, there's a circuitry in the brain that wires me up to being manly, to being masculine, to having
Right.
certain man traits.
Yeah.
And trans women happen to have male bodies with that woman brain. And this is scientifically demonstrated, right? And so you have to understand that.
Right.
Very important.
Well, would you say, because I'm more so just curious about your mindset. So everybody has levels of testosterone and estrogen, right? Would you say that sometimes there is a disconnect with just a flood of hormones and the brain is not communicating with the body?
No, what? No. If the brain doesn't communicate with the body, you're dying. You're dead. Um,
Well,
I think
but
what you mean to say is that the incongruence develops in utero. We know that for a fact. We know that when you're a
right.
baby, we know that when you're developing in utero, hormones can surge into the brain and masculinize it, or a lack thereof of hormones can feminize, keep it feminine. And so the incongruence happens there in the early stages of utero, and that's why trans people exist. It's hormonal, it's neurobiological, it's neurochemical, and it's a mix of these factors that give rise to people's gender.
Right. So I'm trying to think about how to put this and word it correctly. So then I guess I'm trying to put it in a way that doesn't come across as just completely rude. Where my disconnect happens is like I get that there's the social and the biological constructs, right? But
Okay.
where I'm not understanding in this argument, because I see it constantly, is why is there a difference between women and female? When did this become a difference? Like I don't understand that.
Yeah, so in the last 30 years, with the advent of neuroscientific research, with fMRI, MRI machines, we're able to
Right.
scan the brain and dissect the brain in postmortem studies, and we're able to realize that there's a structural difference that gives rise to functional differences in the sense that people identify and express themselves. It's coming from the brain. And so there's a brain component to gender that we have to understand. And that's why it's kind of new in the sense that we're learning the neuroscience on this, but it's giving us more insight on gender.
Right.
And we've always understood the difference between gender and sex. It's just that the way our understanding is updating. We're gaining an understanding in this. 1,000 years ago, people didn't really know about any of this yet. They just penis, you're a man, vagina, you're a girl. And that's kind of how they did it. Now we're
Right.
finding out more about why we should make distinctions between gender and sex, and what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman. Right? We didn't know much about that before.
Do you think part of it is the contribution of this idea of the truth and your truth?
It's funny because the very first thing you came up here and said is you have to follow the science.
Right.
And that's exactly what I'm doing and what you're exactly not doing. The
Well,
science is
I'm just
overwhelmingly
trying to
making the
understand.
case.
Yeah.
Science is overwhelmingly making the case for me, from my side, because the actual consensus in endocrinology, in psychology, is what I'm telling you. There's an
Right.
emergent consensus that gender and sex are distinct, and there's a brain basis behind it. And so you're actually the only one here rejecting science if you disagree.
I'm not saying I disagree. I'm more so up here because I want to understand the other side of things. And so I'm just trying to ask where your viewpoint is, because rather than sit here and be,
Learn about the neuroscience behind gender. Learn about the psychology. Learn about sociology. Learn gender theory. Learn about gender. And then come back and debate me. Okay? But thank you for coming up.
Yeah, for sure.
Folks, learn. That's why I'm here. You can disagree with me. You can agree with me. I don't care. I want you to learn. I want you to research things. That's all I'm here to do. Right? I'm here to inspire people to learn. And because learning is fucking fun. It's amazing learning about people and how amazing people can be. It's incredible how complex we are. We all are. We should embrace that. How sad is it to go, trans people, they're ill, and just dismiss the entire topic. Why not investigate, dive into it, embrace the complexity, embrace it all, and recognize, wow, we are incredible beings. You know, that's my point of view.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good. I'm not actually. I just wanted to acknowledge you, and I came across one of your videos just now, and it had a live attached. I just wanted to say that you strike me as a wise individual. And
Thank you.
The only thing I would argue with the God is imaginary, if just since you brought me into debate, I'll debate that God is a misinterpretation of existence. I'm not even here to debate. I didn't even want to debate, but God is as real as you need it to be to exist. I'm arguing against something that isn't really needing to be argued against.
Okay, so do you think God exists or doesn't exist?
I think the definition of God confuses what God is. So I guess what I'm saying by that is my definition of God is what one might define as existence.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So
that's cool, man. Thank you, Ben.
I mean, that's
Appreciate you coming up. Let's get someone up.
Oh shit! Wait, hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So are you debating veganism right now, or no?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, sweet. All right. So, why are you vegan? Is your stance that we need to be vegan because we need to, like, it's like the morally right thing to do, or because you think it's healthy?
It's ethically correct.
Okay, so what's your, like, where do you stand on the fact that, like, being vegan is it doesn't give you like any of the vital, like, vitamins and things you need to survive?
Oh, okay. Name a single nutrient I'm missing.
Okay, where are you gonna get, like, what is it, like vitamin B, B12? Like, that's literally not found anywhere outside of
Yeast,
animal products, right?
Mushrooms have it. Nutritional yeast has it. Fortified foods have it.
Is that true? And do they have that vitamin in the amounts you need to be healthy?
Yes. In fact, I probably have more B12 in my system than you do.
I doubt that, man. Why do you think that? Isn't it like a statistical fact that vegans usually only last on the diet for like 5 years, then they have to go off of it because they're so deficient in so many nutrients?
No, but people can be deficient as a vegan. You can also be deficient as a meat eater. Right? If you eat nothing, if you eat garbage, you're going to be unhealthy on any diet. But you can be very healthy as a vegan if you know nutrition.
I don't think that's true, because like strict vegans who only eat vegan, don't they have, like, you have to take supplements. There's just like, you have to take pills because you're just not going to get everything that you need to be healthy.
First of all, you don't have to take supplements if you're careful. But number two, supplementation is not bad. Most people do it, if they eat meat or not. There's nothing wrong about supplementation.
Yeah, but
what?
But you're advocating for people to live like they're, like, we're like sick and dying, like swallowing down pills every day, rather than just eating a natural, healthy diet that we evolved to eat.
Sick and dying eating pills, sir. Veganism doesn't mean it. First of all, veganism is not a diet, right?
Okay, yeah, it's a lifestyle.
It's a moral principle. And so saying that all vegans must eat this is nonsense. But more importantly, there's nothing wrong with taking supplements. There's nothing wrong with, and you can get all the nutrients you need as a vegan. This is why this is the position of the Academy of Dietetics and Nutrition. Right? These are panels of doctors, experts, and nutritionists who say that well-planned vegan diets are suitable for all stages of life.
I mean, like, I have it pulled up right here. I mean, where are you getting like vitamin D? Where are you getting omega-3? Where are you getting iron? At least in the form that your body needs it, right? Because I think plants contain that, but they give you like a slightly different what is it? Like it's not in the form that your body needs. It has to convert it, or I guess I'm not an expert, but like I've just heard that there's so many.
Plants have plenty of iron. You're talking about heme iron, which is a particular form in animal products, but it also can be found in some things like plant-based meats and burgers and things like that. Like the Impossible Burger has a bit of heme iron, but regular iron from things like spinach is also very healthy for you, and you're absorbing it just as well as heme iron, 95%, right? Maybe it's a few percent less, but you're still getting a significant portion of that from your diet. Vitamin D, you can find that in mushrooms as well, but you can also find it in algae and things like that. Omega-3s, nuts and seeds have that. Beans have it.
Wait, is eating algae vegan? Isn't that like something that's alive?
Seaweed as well has B12 and.
Okay, so you would rather eat algae, like a fucking nasty, like shit that grows in the water.
There's like algae capsules you can take.
You would rather do that than just eat a naturally balanced diet that humans lived on for thousands of years and evolved to live on. You would rather swallow pills and eat.
We're not cavemen anymore, right? We don't have to live like our ancestors did 30,000 years ago. We have stores now. We have technology, right?
But is that healthy though? I mean, that doesn't matter. It's about what's healthy.
What?
You're advocating for people to be unhealthy. Do you think all vegans are fully aware of the fact that they're probably deficient in so many nutrients and vitamins and things that you need to live a long, healthy life? I mean,
you know that half of Americans have heart disease, right?
Oh, because they eat a bunch of fast food and stuff that isn't healthy either. I'm not advocating for that.
You can be unhealthy as a meat eater.
I don't think that's because of meat. That's because of processed foods.
Hold on. What you're suggesting is that meat eaters are the only ones who can be healthy, and anybody else is bad and unhealthy. That's ridiculous.
That's not what I'm suggesting.
Actually, if you look at the data, vegans are actually far healthier than meat eaters on average. They have lower rates of heart disease. They have lower rates of cancer.
I don't think that's true.
Arthritis and diabetes. It is very true. Look at the Adventist Health 2 study. Look at the Epic Oxford study.
I think you're comparing vegans to like the average person who eats like processed foods and maybe like McDonald's. Like they're eating meat, but
even if you account for grass-fed organic beef versus vegans, they actually have still lower rates of disease.
Okay, this might be wrong, but I heard this somewhere that if you were to take like an infant baby and put them on a vegan diet, they would die. They wouldn't like be able to develop properly, and they would probably have all kinds of.
You heard wrong. You can again, as the Academy of Dietetics and Nutrition agrees, even infants can be vegan, as long as you're obviously making sure they're nutritionally adequate.
So giving them pills, giving them things, and overcomplicating it rather than just giving them a healthy, balanced diet.
It's not just pills, but fortified foods. Look, do you understand that meat is fortified and milk is fortified from cows?
Sure, but I mean...
Okay, so there's nothing wrong with eating fortified substances or taking supplements. There's nothing wrong with that. You're just scared of it because...
I'm not scared of it.
It's a way to excuse yourself from entertaining veganism.
It's about practicality, and it's about just being natural and being healthy.
It's very practical to be vegan. I don't think about it anymore. I just do it. It's very practical to just eat something plant-based.
I don't think so. I think that humans evolved off of eating meat. I think if you just constantly swallow down all of these plants that probably have a bunch of like anti-nutrients and things in them, you might live like 20 years less than somebody who just had a balanced diet.
I'd love to hear your stance on what an anti-nutrient is and what it does.
So, okay, I heard this somewhere. So like, what is it? Spinach has something called like oxalates in it. And that is an anti-nutrient, right? Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay. Do you know that when you cook spinach, most of the oxalates are gone? Did you know
But
that?
then you're cooking out all of the vitamins too, right? Like you're
No, you're
cooking out
not.
everything
No,
else.
you're not. No, the vitamins retain with cooking, but the lectins and the oxalates, they die out. They go
Is
away.
that true? How do you
Yes, it's
is that
true.
like actually true? So
Yes, the
cooking
same with
it
beans.
kills
The
the
same with
bad stuff
beans
but
and
not the good stuff. How
tomatoes.
convenient.
The same with beans and tomatoes. When you cook your food, those anti-nutrients go away. Secondly, there is actually evidence that those anti-nutrients in sufficient amounts are healthy for you. They have anti-cancer properties. They protect you from cancer.
Yeah, I think I've heard that too. That's probably true.
You want some anti-nutrients in your diet
But if
because it
that's
actually
all you're
protects
eating,
you.
then it's probably unhealthy. If that's all you're getting, right? Like if you're just living off of spinach and off of these plants that grow in the ground.
Nobody said you're living off of spinach, sir. You're eating a very
Right.
balanced
You're
diet
living
as
off
a
of
vegan.
spinach and capsules that contain the other
I would
vitamins
also
you need, otherwise you
look.
would die. Wow.
This is such a disingenuous argument because
No, it's not.
I actually haven't swallowed a pill in months. But
So
I
where are you getting vitamin B, vitamin D? Where are you getting this?
mushrooms. I go outside in the sun. Vitamin D.
Okay, what about the people that live in like, I don't know, parts of the world where there's not enough sun to get healthy amounts of vitamin D?
Eat mushrooms and take a supplement. Big deal.
See,
You know that
you're just
you know that most meat eaters take supplements, right?
I don't think that's true. Are you talking
What
about
is
like strictly
true-
carnivores?
What is true is that meat eaters also have similar B12 deficiencies. Because guess what? Meat is not the thing that makes B12. B12 comes from bacteria, not from meat necessarily.
So you're saying you can eat meat and not get B12 from it? I don't understand
Yes,
that.
it happens. In fact, did you know that most of the cows in factories are actually injected with B12? Did you know
Injected
that?
with B12.
Yes, in fact,
I would need to look into that before
cows
I
you
just
slaughter
believe what you
are
said.
supplemented with B12.
And you're doing all of this what to save a cow that wouldn't give a shit about you in the wild, right? I mean, if this animal you're saving, if it came down to it in the wild, had to kill you to survive, it would do it in a heartbeat. You're doing all of
But the
this.
difference is that we're not in that situation where the cow is trying to survive. It's us being the perpetrators, being abusers and exploitation, and exploiting them without reason, without justification. That's the problem. We are doing something wrong.
No, the justification is people need to be able to eat a balanced diet to survive.
You can be
General
vegan and
public
get a
needs meat
balanced diet. You
to
can
survive.
be vegan and get a balanced diet.
I don't believe in living that kind of a lifestyle where you're going to be taking so many like unnatural forms of like these vitamins rather than just eating it how we evolved to eat it over thousands of years.
Look, you understand that how we evolved in the past is fucking irrelevant to today.
How is that irrelevant? That's what our bodies are naturally attuned to doing.
First of all, there's actually evidence that our ancestors did eat plants mostly. They were vegetarian mostly. There's evidence
Maybe
that
if they were like
some
starving
human
and they were
populations-
dying.
Hold on. There is some evidence that our ancestors actually were vegetarian, but there is no human diet that is universal because humans are such a diverse species. We lived in so many different conditions over the past couple million years. It's impossible to achieve a universal diet. It doesn't exist. We can eat anything. Okay? We literally can eat anything. And so
You think humans can just eat anything without consequences? You think our bodies are
we have the
adapted
ability
to
to
eat
consume
all of these
anything.
plants? Sorry, go ahead.
We have the ability to consume meat and plants and fungi.
But
That's the
just
point.
because we can, does that mean it's healthy? Does that mean it's what our bodies actually need? Right? I mean, we can eat all these
That's
plants.
your point. That's why I'm saying no, that's not true. What's true is that we can be balanced and healthy as vegans, and that's all that matters.
I don't think you can be as healthy as you would be if you ate a balanced diet. I think you're advocating for people to be less healthy to save animals, but it's natural. That's nature.
Can you demonstrate that claim that without meat you're unhealthy?
I mean, I don't know how you want me to demonstrate it. You're going to be lacking in a lot of essential, like what is it, like amino acids, vitamins, all these things your body
where's your
needs.
source? Where's your source in all these claims? These big claims.
Where's your source? Where's your source that
I've been to South study too. Look at the Epic Oxford study.
look
These
at
are
the
those
epic
studies that demonstrate vegans are healthier.
Okay, so how come when I look it up though, I get results saying vitamin B12 is not found naturally in plants? You would need a
Well,
supplement.
it's found in, well, that's just a Google. You're just Googling something, okay, which is fine. But B12 is really found in mushrooms, but it's also found in nutritional yeast. You get like 6 times the RDA in like a spoonful of nutritional yeast. This is basic stuff, sir.
Basic stuff. So I just think it would be so much more work, so complicated to be a healthy vegan, like fully healthy, as healthy as someone
Not at all.
eating a balanced diet. All of that,
It's very
why?
easy to be healthy as a vegan.
Because you think it's morally like we're just obligated to do this when every other species in the wild, every other animal in the wild would kill another animal to survive if it needed to. I don't understand. Just because we don't have to, I think we do
are
have
not
to.
in the position where we have to kill to survive. We are not killing animals by the billions just to survive. We're killing them because we like the way they taste. There's a demand for it, but it doesn't mean it's justified. See, you can be a vegan and be healthy and survive that way. You just prefer to eat meat, but without justification.
I gave you the justification. I seriously think you're just saying things. I think it's pretty actually. I think it's pretty immoral actually.
So then what is the moral justification for slaughtering animals?
If you need to do it to survive and to be healthy, why would you not do it? Why would you not want to live a long, healthy life?
Do you need to slaughter animals to be alive?
I think so. I think you need to
Why?
get some animal products in your diet to be healthy.
Can you demonstrate that?
I don't understand. I keep saying you like right. I can say, oh, you won't get this, and then you'll say, and then you'll say, oh, but you can take a pill. You can swallow down pills the rest of your life. Wow.
Give me a source next time.
A source. I don't need a source for something that's common knowledge, right? Like if you can't get a vitamin from a certain plant, that's not like I don't need to provide a source for that. What are you talking about?
You do, because we can get B12 from mushrooms. We can get B12 from nutritional yeast. Just read the back of the box. It tells you right there, 600% with a spoonful.
And that's better. So eating strictly mushrooms, you don't think that might have other consequences too? Like
nobody's eating strictly mushrooms. This isn't Mario. We're not playing Mario Kart.
For your source of that
we're
vitamin.
Not eating just mushrooms. We're eating a varied, balanced diet. See, you don't understand diet. You don't understand nutrition, and that's why you're confused here.
Okay, so I don't understand it. Do you think the average person understands it? Do you think the average vegan who's just doing it because they think it's a good thing to do understands it? Probably killing themselves because they aren't getting everything they need.
Yeah, I think there's a good portion of vegans who don't understand nutrition adequately, but it doesn't mean that you should be a meat eater. It doesn't mean that doesn't justify your action.
I mean, think about that on a large scale. If you want everybody to convert to veganism, I mean, how would that even work? Everybody's going to start eating mushrooms on it. How would you even how do you even make that trend?
How would it work is we stop killing billions of animals and the earth starts healing. We get healthier. We stop being assholes and pricks to other animals. The world gets far better when we go vegan. It lowers carbon emissions. It's better for the environment. It reduces water consumption. It makes us ethical. It makes us kinder to one another. We don't objectify people because it's so intuitive to objectify animals. See,
it's not objectifying animals.
There's a deep underlying ethics behind veganism that spills over into your other ethics.
Which is what exactly? How are we objectifying animals? It's just natural.
You consider them objects. You consider them just objects you get to exploit and abuse.
I don't think that's how I consider them, but sure.
So then why do you agree that animals are somebody with the thoughts and sentience?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Okay, so then you literally agree that we should slaughter others.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. You literally think it's okay to slaughter others for no good reason.
No, it's not for no good reason though, right? Like I understand that's what we're doing, but it's for good reason. You like on a large scale, it would be impossible to achieve what you're trying to achieve.
Why?
The world will never be fully vegan. That's impossible.
Why is it impossible for the world to be vegan?
Think of like the infrastructure. Like think of how everything would need to change for that to happen. It just would never happen. Your goal is unachievable.
Did you know, sir, that 70% of all the crops we grow in the world are not fed to humans? They're fed to animals. What do you think the animals have to eat? Crops. We have to grow them, sir. And so if we were to go vegan, the infrastructure would necessarily get better. The world would be better off because we use so many resources to feed the animals and grow them that being vegan would be drastically better for everybody.
I don't know. I think, humans have been around for how many hundreds of thousands, like 200,000-300,000 years? And for how long did we basically just live off of animals to get those vitamins and those minerals we needed? I mean, do you think it's really a good idea to completely switch your diet?
Yes, I think it's a fantastic idea. We know it's healthier. We know it's better for the environment. We know it's better for the animals. It's in every sense better.
It's better for the animals. It's better for the environment. But I don't think it's necessarily better for people.
Well, you have to bring a source next time then, because you're just basing it off your anecdotal claims.
I mean, sure, man. You just dismiss what I say. Like, oh, you can get these vitamins from
But there's a reason why I dismiss it. It's baseless. I want data, not opinion.
You want data. Do you really have data that suggests that vegans are actually healthier than people who eat balanced diets?
I give you two
think
sources.
if you were to actually...
The Advent Health Study 2.
Is that comparing vegans to the average person who eats fast food processed things?
It's comparing
That's
vegans
not what I'm
and
saying.
vegetarians to meat eaters who are healthy and pescatarians who are healthy. The
Meat eaters who are healthy. What is this study exactly isolating? Because is it isolating people who eat a balanced diet but they don't consume things like processed foods, fast food?
Everybody's diet. They account for everybody's diet, their healthy diets, and they exercise. And they still find that vegans are healthier. They have lower rates of disease.
There is no way that's true. I think you're looking at the wrong. I think the study probably shows.
I'll pull it up for you.
Because only if it's isolating those things, it can't be including people that eat fast foods, things like McDonald's, right? That's not the balanced diet I'm talking about. Obviously, a vegan will be healthier than somebody eating fast food, like what the average American eats. I'm talking about just eating healthy, but eating a balanced diet. I think that is a lot more healthy for you.
Vegetarian and vegan diets are associated with lower all-cause mortality and with some reductions in cause-specific mortality. That's the conclusion from the study.
So, okay. You think if I was to really do a deep dive, I wouldn't be able to find any studies that would suggest otherwise? I mean...
You might find one or two, but that doesn't mean jack shit when there's like 1,000 that disagree.
Don't you think it's possible that like doctors and like the mainstream suggests eating plants and things because it's what's normalized? I don't think it's necessarily healthier for you. Like,
you think veganism is normalized?
I think it's trying to be, right? I mean,
not at all, sir. If anything, it's the opposite. Look, you are deliberately picking and choosing what you want to look at because you're inherently biased. You don't want to change. You don't want to learn. That's the problem. You think you're right. You're convicted in your belief. You have this inkling you're correct. And you ought to learn more about the data.
Well, maybe you're right, but I mean, it's just like one of those things where, maybe you're right, but then again, why would I want to play with take a risk and, have my health be the thing that might end up.
There is no risk.
Do I want to risk dying 5 years earlier?
Look, all you have to do is seek help by going to a dietitian. who can give you a meal plan and tell you the nutrients you're getting and give you the specific meals for that and deal with all your concerns. You're just not willing to change, it seems.
Maybe not. I don't know. From what I've heard, from what I've always heard, it's just better to eat a balanced diet. And I think that you're advocating for something that's just not natural. And I
Vegan
just don't see how that's
diets,
healthy.
vegan diets can be very balanced. You just don't understand what vegan diets entail. That's
Humans
why
are
I
omnivores,
highly
though, right?
suggest you learn about what veganism is. I highly
Why?
suggest you learn about nutrition, diet, and
Why do
bring
you think humans are
sources.
omnivores? Why? I mean, why are we able to eat meat and digest it and pull nutrients from it
Our ancestors used to eat meat.
if it's not what we need, if it's not necessary?
Do you understand that people like in the Arctic, the Inuits, they ate tons of animal products, and guess what? Their lifespans were very low, and they had high rates of heart disease.
Those are the people that eat like exclusively animals, right?
Yeah.
So that's not what I'm talking about. That's not a balanced diet. They
Well,
probably are
they didn't
like
just eat
lacking
meat. They
vitamin
obviously
C and
ate
stuff
some
because you
plants
can't really
too.
get
But
that from meat.
the point is that our ancestors did bad things too. They didn't eat always healthy like you think.
Right, but
That's
like
my
when did it
point.
magically switch? Like, oh, humans ate meat for thousands of years and like now we're just going to eat only plants? Like, I don't think that's healthy. How is that healthy? There's no way our bodies are
It's healthy
like
because
adapted for
you
that.
can get every nutrient you need as a vegan. It's very
Not
healthy.
in adequate amounts. I think you'd have to eat like
You keep suggesting it's not good, but you never provide a source.
so like how many mushrooms are you going to have to eat to get enough vitamin B12 so your brain doesn't like deteriorate and you get Alzheimer's?
A serving or two per day is enough, but if you're concerned about it, you can get nutritional yeast. Take a spoonful. Put in your cereal. It's that easy. You're making it seem so difficult because you just don't want to change.
Maybe you're right, but I mean, how are you going to convince everybody to change if it's what we've been doing for thousands of years?
Education. It's going to take these difficult conversations. It's going to take effort for people to change. That's why I'm here, sir.
Well, I mean, I don't think you. Yeah, I mean, I think you made a good point, but I obviously would have to look into it before I would just believe what you say. I think that a
Yes,
balanced diet is
I
probably still the
really
better option.
recommend you do that. I recommend you look into it first. Okay?
Sure. All right.
All right. Everything I debate about, highly contentious, highly personal, highly they invoke critical thinking. They challenge you deeply. These are very fundamental beliefs about how the world is supposed to operate. God, veganism, gender. And so these are the very hard conversations that we have to keep having for people to catch on and keep learning. Right? Look at how easy it is to just deny all these things. God, he's real. Vegan, that's stupid. Trans women, no, they're men. Think of how easy it is to fall into that trap of simplicity for the sake of making the world seem simple. Right? It takes extra thought, extra critical faculties to think about these things and understand these topics, and that's why I'm here. Sorry, these are some of the most important discussions because they touch the most fundamental things, and they force you to think in ways that change your entire worldview at the very fundamental layers. You know, and so I'm happy to be that person who debates these things. And in every one of these topics, I've learned a great deal of things about them, about the world, because of my inquiry. And that's what I hope you all can do. You get inspired and curious. What's this guy saying about God? Is it real? Is it not real? What's this guy saying? Veganism? That's stupid. What is that? Trans woman or woman? That's crazy. I thought there was only man and female, right? We need more challengers to these ideas. The world would be a far better place if it were full of critical thinkers. Should I do the pale blue dot before I go? Okay. So this is a very deeply moving image. What is that? That's the Earth. That little dot right there, you can barely see it, right? That's the Earth from the Voyager spacecraft, taken in 1990, about 4 billion miles away from the Earth. And so, if you look at that Earth from space, right, you see a dot. That is here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you've ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, every hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust, suspended in the sunbeam. The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors, so that in glory and triumph they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How frequent their misunderstandings. How eager they are to kill one another. How fervent their hatreds. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe are challenged by this point of pale light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there's no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. It's up to us. It's been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There's perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known. Yeah, that's it, folks. You know, think about that. Think about the cosmic perspective this image gives you. You know, so sad we live on a speck of dust. But yeah, we're insignificant in the grand scheme of things. But look at how much that emphasizes the importance of living your life to the best of your ability and being kinder and being a better person. Because that's all we got is that dot. We don't have another place, right? All of our experiences, everything we've ever known, your family, your friends, everything in your life that's ever happened to you happened there. Look how fragile that is. Look how delicate we are. And we don't often see this perspective. We often see the perspective that we live forever and we think everything's, you know, transient. But this reminds you of how precious Earth is. In its finitude, how precious it is to be here, to be human. That we ought to cherish this experience, cherish each other, cherish people, cherish everybody you can, because that's all we got. You know? So, yeah. Hopefully this live gave you some value, made you think a little bit. I think about this every day, folks. I'm confronted with it every day. That life, how finite life can be, how precious life is. And that's actually why I'm vegan in a sense. Right? Recognizing this bigger picture kind of inspired me to cherish people and animals in nature far more. And comparatively speaking, look at how sad it is to be religious and think that, oh yeah, this life is nothing. All that matters is God and heaven. This life is just a stepping stone. That's all this is to you. I think that is demoralizing, and to my point of view, that is so demoralizing. That is so degrading. Oh yeah, this life is just nothing. We're waiting to get to heaven. That's the real life. But that just degrades everything that we have here. The amazingness here. We take it for granted too much. We're dismissing it. We're saying, no, this is all the hell places. We're waiting for the heaven. Think about that for a second, right? Look at the differences between these 2 points of views. We often hear from Christians that they're the only ones who appreciate God's creation. But do they really appreciate the world? when all that matters as a Christian is that you get to heaven. This world doesn't matter to you. This world is nothing. This world is just a stepping stone for some other better place. And so, from my point of view, as an atheist, I value life even more than a Christian could, in this sense. You know, especially when you recognize that this life is all you have. You don't get an afterlife, right? So, how comforting it is to suggest that you have an afterlife. But at the same time, in exchange for that comfort, you get a world. You get a view of the world that is so lacking in color. It's black and white. It's colorless. I, as an atheist, understanding science, I see far more color in this world. Far more amazingness and evolution. It's the fact that stars are... that when you look into space, you look at the stars and they're not just lamps like the Bible suggests. They're not in a glass dome. They're far away. They're light years away. And when you look at the stars, you're looking into the past in a sense, because it takes light time to reach your eye, and so you're looking into the past every time you look into space. That's fantastic. That's astonishing. And it's not that the universe is just big and we're small, and we're actually connected deeply to the universe. We are stardust. We actually come from the stars in a sense. The way the Earth formed out of a gas cloud that came from stars that exploded. That's where gas comes from, stars. And the elements in your body, calcium, hydrogen, phosphorus, all those elements that make up your skin, your teeth, your bones, they came from stars that were forging these elements in their cores under immense pressures and heat. And then when they exploded, over millions of years, they happened to eject into space and over time collapse into a star like the sun and became around it accreted Earth and other planets. And you came about. So in a way, you're stardust. That's a deep connection. It's profound, right? That we are fragments of the cosmos. In a way, we are the universe experiencing itself. We are a way for the cosmos to be alive and know itself. That's profound. I mean, that's amazing. And, when you're religious and you go, oh, that's just God's creation, that sucks away the elegance. It sucks away the beauty. It sucks away the richness from reality. Everything's covered in, everything's masked in religion. And God did it. Yeah, God made it. God made that. Look how amazing God is. It sounds good. It's enticing. But you're forgetting the richness. You're disregarding all that beauty, that the elegance that science can provide. That not just the science, but the reality of it can provide. In fact, so when you're seeking comfort in delusion in fairy tales, that's at the cost of elegance and richness and color and beauty. So that's all, guys. That's all I had for today. I just hope you keep learning and you stay curious and be kind. Debunk the Bible. I understand where you're coming from. Your immediate response is to be defensive. Oh, well, you can't prove God doesn't exist, right? That's very common. The problem is that the burden of proof is on you to demonstrate your claim, right? If I were to say, genies exist, is it up to me? Is it up to you to disprove that? No, it's up to me to prove it. I'm the one making the claim, and so I have to demonstrate it. And what you're doing by saying, "Oh, prove the Bible is not real," that's shifting the burden onto others. But yes, we can investigate the Bible and realize that the biblical stories of creation and Adam and Eve and Noah's Ark, those things are not possible. Scientifically, those things can't happen. There are salt deposits in western United States which predate the biblical flood. I mean, these salt deposits, the fact that they have deposited as salt layers means they didn't see rain for millions of years. There are some spots on the earth that haven't seen rain for millions of years. And so how the heck could there be a global flood? How could the world be flooded if there are salt deposits? It doesn't make any sense, right? Or Adam and Eve. Well, that can't happen. There isn't a first person. The evolution shows us that there's not a first person. There's a lineage of people that never ends. You can go back and back and back, and you'll still find beings before the one in line. So in other words, there's no first person, because there's always somebody before that. Or Noah's Ark. How did penguins and kangaroos get to Australia from where the Ark landed, supposedly in Turkey? They had to walk thousands of miles with no trace. There's no penguin fossils in Africa. There's no kangaroo fossils in Asia or in the Middle East. There's no such thing as kangaroos there. Why? How is it the case there's no trace of these animals, yet we find them in Australia and Antarctica? It seems like there's a huge gap in the creation story. But if you understand evolution, it's perfectly understandable as to why we find penguins in Antarctica and no trace of them in South America or Africa. It's because penguins emerged about 70, 80 million years ago as they branched out from birds from South America about 80 million years ago, and they adapted to the colder climates in Antarctica, especially 30 million years ago as it became very cold. There was a bridge, the Drake Passage, that allowed them to move into Antarctica from South America. But about 40 million years ago, it started opening up. And so they became isolated from the other continents. Same with kangaroos. Australia was once part of Antarctica. It was very close. There were bridges that allowed them to move across continents. And so that makes perfect sense. But if given 4 billion years and given evolution and given natural selection, that makes perfect sense. But given the Bible, it makes no sense at all. And so these are the kinds of dilemmas you have to deal with if you take the Bible to be literal. And if you think, oh, well, the Bible is not literal, it's metaphorical, and there's just a God, he made us. But, one of the most common arguments is intelligent design. Look how amazingly we were designed, Mike. But there are thousands of flaws you can point out. These are very basic flaws, like allergies. What the heck is that? What kind of design is that? Where your body literally sees proteins as foreign and invaders, and it goes and attacks itself. Your body's attacking itself. Autoimmune diseases, cancer. What kind of design is that? Why is it the case that some mutations occur in the body? Why did God design that? Or look at the unnecessary amount of complexity in the body. I mean, it's just gratuitously complex. There's a meme going around where it's like the cables going through your body are like super complicated, but God could have just made it simple. He could have just given us one artery. He didn't have to make thousands from which if one goes wrong, you can potentially die. Or why would God make our blood vessels so exceedingly small in certain parts of our bodies, such that they can clog and literally rid us of eyesight, rid us of erectile functioning? It messes up all. Like, there's so many ways our bodies can be disturbed easily, or choking. Why would God design one hole to eat and breathe from? Why not two? Why not make it such that we never choke? And so given all this, it makes no sense that it fits within a God paradigm. But if you understand evolution, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense that we have gratuitous complexity in the body. Why? Because evolution doesn't care about complexity. Evolution does not care about efficiency. It just cares about survival. And so when our evolution is survival oriented, the way our bodies evolve is just random, up to the point where survival is required. After that, it doesn't matter, right? Or cancer. Why is cancer exist? Well, these are just mutations that happen due to things that go beyond evolution. Like cosmic rays can cause mutations. Many things beyond evolution can cause mutations. But it makes perfect sense that our bodies have built-in mechanisms that prevent cancer and kill cancer to sufficient degree, just enough to keep our survival levels sufficient to maintain our species. It makes perfect sense. It fits in perfectly when you understand evolution and biology. And it makes no sense when you understand the Bible or God or intelligent design. And so these are the kinds of arguments that you're going to walk into when you become honestly skeptical about your religion. You're going to have to deal with these things, So, although it's very easy to sit back and say, prove God doesn't exist. It's very easy to do that. It's hard to defend your belief. That's why it's often never done properly. So, yeah. Yeah. Have you considered debating anti-vaxxers? I don't know much about, I'm not a big biology expert. I'm not fit for that kind of discussion. I'd have to learn more about biology. But more importantly, I don't think it's a fundamentally important discussion to have. I think there's a bigger picture to be demonstrated. Right. The same with flat earthers. Like, to me, it's not a fundamental issue. It's just a side issue that stems from, a lot of the time, religion. And so I find that attacking the most fundamental belief system is the most efficient thing to do. It's like building a house of cards. I'm not going to attack the top card. If I want the whole thing to collapse, I'm not going to move the top card. I'm going to move the bottom cards, the more fundamental layers. That's the best way to topple the house of cards.